Here we are again. Welcome, children. We're going to read a story called The Impossible Escape. It's a true story. Do you like this kind of stories? Let's start.
The Impossible Escape. A true story. Joe Simpson and Simon Yates were best friends and expert climbers. In 1985, they decided to climb Ciudad Grande, a mountain in Peru that is over 6,300 meters high. Joe and Simon decided to climb up the western side of the mountain. It was a very dangerous and difficult climb. After a long, tiring day, they finally reached the top. They felt great because they were the first climbers to reach the top by climbing up the western side. The weather was getting bad, so they needed to descend the mountain quickly. It was difficult to climb down. There was a lot of ice, and soon it started snowing hard. It was very cold and windy. Suddenly, Joe fell and began to slide down the mountain. He was sliding very fast. Then, his foot hit a rock, and he stopped. He felt a strong pain. His leg and knee were broken. "Joe, are you okay?" Simon shouted. "I broke my leg," Joe shouted back. Simon climbed down to Joe. Simon was worried. Then he looked at their ropes and had an idea. "I can help you with our ropes," Simon explained. Simon attached himself to a rock and lowered Joe with his rope. Joe was in terrible pain, but it was important to get back to base camp before dark. Simon slowly lowered Joe down with the ropes, but they were surrounded by thick clouds, and it was impossible to see anything. Joe suddenly fell over the side of a cliff. "Simon! Simon, stop!" Joe screamed. There was white all around him, and nothing under his feet. He was suspended in the air. "Simon! Pull me up!" Joe yelled. But Simon couldn't hear him. With the snow and wind, it was impossible for the men to see or hear each other. Simon waited there for a long time, and he started to feel very tired and cold. He shouted to Joe, but there was only silence. Simon started to think that Joe was dead. Finally, to save his own life, Simon decided to cut the rope. But Joe wasn't dead. When Simon cut the rope, Joe fell down the cliff and into a hole in the ice. He was inside a glacier. His body hurt a lot, but he was alive. Joe didn't want to die. He climbed through a tunnel in the ice. After a long time, he came out of the glacier and started crawling slowly. When Simon arrived at base camp, he went to his tent. He was safe, but very sad. Simon looked up at the mountain and listened for Joe's shouts, but he heard nothing. After 3 long days, he realized that Joe was not coming back. He planned to leave the next day. The next morning, the sun was shining, and there wasn't any wind. Very far away, Simon heard Joe shouting, "Simon!" He opened the tent and looked around. In the distance, he saw his friend crawling towards him in the snow. It was amazing. Joe was alive.
Beautiful story. When you finish this, you're going to page 64, exercise 2, and let's read and circle true or false. Read with me, come on. 1. Joe and Simon decided to climb a mountain in Canada. Is it true or false? 2. They were the first climbers to climb the Ciula Grande. The first climbers. True or false? 3. Joe and Simon needed to get to base camp quickly. Base camp, remember? Campamento base. So they needed to get to base camp quickly. True or false? 4. The weather was cold and rainy. What do you think? 5. Simon was worried because nobody could rescue them. Nobody could rescue them. Is it true or false? 6. Joe was suspended over the edge of a cliff. Suspended is cuando te quedas colgando de una soga en un acantilado o en el borde, en una de las caras de la montaña. So Joe was suspended over the edge of a cliff. Then, if you go to page 65, exercise 2, you have to read and order. Read and put these sentences in order. In the order of the story. Yes, so for example this one. Joe fell into a hole in the ice. Simon cut the rope. Joe was crawling towards Simon. Simon thought Joe was dead and needed to save his own life. Joe climbed through an ice tunnel. So, what sentence comes first, second, third, and so on? You tell me. Es decir, que ponemos en el orden de la historia. Now, let's go to do other activities from the activity book. And the first one, this is on page 64. You have to listen and order. So, ready? Let's listen and put the sentences in order.
Listen and order. The Impossible Escape. A True Story. Joe Simpson and Simon Yates were best friends and expert climbers. They decided to climb Ciula Grande, a mountain in Peru. Joe and Simon, they finally reached the top. The weather was getting bad, so they needed to descend the mountain quickly. Suddenly, Joe fell and began to slide down the mountain. Then, his foot hit a rock and he stopped. He felt a strong pain. Simon was worried. Then he looked at their ropes and had an idea. Simon attached himself to a rock and lowered Joe with his rope. Joe suddenly fell over the side of a cliff.
All right, well, could you do it? If you have any doubts, please contact me. Number 2. Read complete with the correct form of the verb and match. Tenemos que hacer dos cosas. La primera es intentar poner los verbos que están entre paréntesis en el pasado. Acuérdense que en esta primera etapa del pasado ponemos la E y la D al final. Por ejemplo, start quedaría started. ¿Yes? ¿Y qué pongo en los cuadraditos que están al principio de la oración? Intentamos unirlos con las imágenes que vemos arriba. So you have to match the sentences to the pictures. Next, page 65. You have to listen and write. And order, yes? Order, you have to put the words in order to make sentences. For example, Number 1, look. Simon and Joe reached the top. Or Joe and Simon reached the top. 2, they descended the mountain. So you put in order and write the sentence. Yes? Thank you.